Okay, welcome back to Brian with Love Lifeline. If I could only give one piece of advice to anybody about how to have better relationships, whether it's romantic, friendships, at work, family, I would suggest one thing that's really important. You or we need to be the best person we can be. For example, if we've always daydreamed about the perfect person for us, I'm sure we all have. They should be a very loving person, great sense of humor, easy to talk to. Then we also need those same qualities. We need to be a more loving person. We need to be easy to talk to. We need to develop, if we need to, a better sense of humor ourselves. So many people have it around the wrong way. They find someone and then try and change them to suit what they think, instead of changing themselves. Look in the mirror first. When I first started my self-improvement journey many years ago, it was around early 20s, I wondered why I was the way I was. I wasn't a very happy person. I grew up in an unhappy background, family, and growing up was very difficult for me. Hence for the motivation for this channel. So before we can find our perfect romantic match, which I'd rather call a life partner, someone we can identify with, someone we can converse with, someone that genuinely loves us. And even the word love has been misused by many people. Many people call things love that are really lust. There's many channels about how to hook up with people, how to get sex from people, and lots of other silly things like that, which are all playing games. But I want to talk about love, real love, which is a sacrificial thing. Doing something for someone and not expecting anything in return, not for a reward. Doing something because of the love and respect you have for that person. Doing things you know they like and trying to avoid the things you know they don't like. Not to gain points, but because you care about that person. And of course, if it is a truly healthy relationship, they will do exactly the same thing. So what I'm saying is not one-way traffic. Unfortunately, there are some relationships where one person refuses to do any work on the relationship or on themselves, but the other one realizes they need help, they need change, such as going to counseling, but the other refuses. I want, hopefully, to save you from that situation or from it repeating. Believe me, I've got plenty of experience of being in toxic relationships, and I want to do my best to avoid ever having another one again. So, being the best person we can be. How do we do that? The first step, and this isn't some philosophical Buddhist thing, looking inside yourself and all these kinds of things. It's a very practical thing. Yes, emotions are involved, but it really is a very practical thing. The first thing I would recommend, and this is what I have done myself many years ago, most, if not all people, regard themselves as wonderful people. Absolutely wonderful. We often have an overestimation of ourselves. Sometimes truly we can be gifted in certain areas, but there are blind spots with all of us. There are things that we do or say or think that are not healthy and are not good for other people. And these things put other people off, and they cause problems in relationships. We need to be honest with ourselves. This isn't about being mean to ourselves or getting down on ourselves. Most people watching my videos, I'm sure you're well aware of your weak areas. But I still would recommend the first step, which is, after we realize we have to do something about ourselves to improve ourselves for our own well-being, plus to attract a better person and for the well-being of our future partner, I would recommend writing down our qualities or our habits, both positive and negative, in as much detail as possible. Don't just write the obvious like speaks well, good sense of humor, athletic. Go in depth as much as possible. Try and expand as much as you can. The longer the better. And I put the positive habits too, so first list the negatives so then you can finish on a positive note, because I don't want you beating yourself up. I'm sure many people watching this, including myself, we've spent many times being overly critical of ourselves because perhaps in part to the way others have treated us in the past. Maybe they've been very critical of us, for example, and that's led us to having poor self-esteem. Now, in a healthy person, it's important to be self-critical, but in a measured way and not to be overly critical. So we all have our weak areas and our strong areas. We need to identify first by writing those down, positives and negatives. Once we get those, we can look at how they affect us. It is similar to addictions, basically. These qualities we have